So I'm letting them know that I've been involved with private services since 2012. I'm also telling them, I got involved because he asked me to answer some phone calls and return some phone calls and relay messages. And then I started to go out and actually meet with real people. And so they're wanting to know, what is private services? And I'm telling them private service is a third party consulting firm that specializes in sentence reductions. And so they're asking me what kind of sentence reductions, and I'm telling them the Rule 35B. And they're saying, so who do y'all speak to? Who are all these informants that y'all have working? And so I'm giving them all the people names that I know to be informants, including him. And so now they're wanting to know about the money. They're asking me, so how much money would you say y'all made with this business? And so I'm basically telling them, I don't know, but it's been millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so they are agreeing with me. And so eventually they're wanting to know, do I know certain names? And so they're reading out a paper full of names, at least 20 names. And they're reading all these names, asking me, have you ever heard any of these names before? And so I'm basically saying, yes, 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 I've heard those names before. Well, they're all coming at me at a different angle. And then as I looked up, I finally realized where I knew this agent from. This was the same DEA agent that I had sat with more than a decade and some ago in that room where he told me to move on with my life. So now they want me to listen to some recordings, and they're playing these recordings, and they're asking me who are these voices on these recordings. And as they're playing these recordings, I'm telling them that, this is his voice, this is his voice, this is his voice, this is who this other person voice, this other person voice, this is my voice, or whatever. Well, they actually didn't recognize his voice because he's very good at disguising his voice. Like when he gets, eventually they wrap up this meeting. I'm asking them, am I going to get my bond hearing today? And they're telling me, let us see what time it is or whatever. Somebody's going to let you know shortly. Well, eventually somebody comes back in the room and they tell me to stand up and put my hands behind my back, that they're going to go ahead on and take me down to the detention center. So they end up taking me downtown Houston and taking me to this building and bringing me up there and then putting me inside of a cell with a lot of other people. So as I look up while I'm sitting in this cell, I see him walking with no cuffs on with these agents, and he's just a smiling like he doesn't have a care in the world as he's walking. And so now I'm starting to get a little worried and confused at the same time. A lady comes in and she starts telling me that, they're going to dress me out and put me in a dorm. And I'm like, no, they told me I was going to see the judge today. And she say, oh, I'm sorry, the judges are all gone for today. You won't be able to see the judge until tomorrow. So I'm panicking at this time. I'm really sick. I'm saying, ma'am, I need to use the phone. I need to call. I haven't talked to anybody in my family. So the lady tells me, well, once they get me settled, she's going to make sure that I make a phone call. This is with my mom. And I'm saying, Mom, how are my kids? That's the first thing I ask about. And she's like, your kids are good. We got them all from school. I have them here with me. We had a hard time with the kids. The kids is not taking this very well. Do you want me to go ahead on? Because I went and got your important papers and I could put the kids in school. And so I'm like, no, like I'm going to go back to my house, Mom. And she's like, well, they say you have a bond hearing and we're going to just come back tomorrow morning to make sure that we're there to support you. And I'm like, Mom, why did y'all leave? Like, you're supposed to stay at my house. And she was like, well, Kalitha, there was 2 U-Hauls circling the neighborhood with 2 white guys in it. And I think they were waiting for us to leave so they can come in your house and take all your things. And so I'm like, no way. And Mama was so serious at the time. I was like, no way. See, you should have stayed there, Mom. You don't know what they're going to do. And she was like, well, I locked up everything. Everything is locked up. I made sure the windows was locked and everything is just like you left it. And tomorrow we're going to check on your place. And I was like, please make sure y'all go to my place and check on it, Mom. And so and she started telling me at this time, she's like, so, they arrested your cousin too. I said, yeah, Mom, I seen him. And she said, well, the guy that was hanging with, your husband all the time, he showed up at your house. And by the time we got there, he was in there taking all kind of clothes out the closet that was for your husband. He had garbage sacks in his car by the time we got there. And we're asking him, like, what is he doing? And he's up there saying, oh, he gone. He history. He ain't never getting out. And so I'm like, Mom, and y'all let him drive away with the stuff? She said, well, it was already too late. When we got there, he already had them packed up a lot of stuff. He was going through all y'all stuff before we ever got there. And so now I'm pissed off at my cousin and saying, well, tomorrow y'all gonna get y'all bond hearing when y'all go to court and I'll be there in the morning. So I had to hang up the phone. The lady came back. I go back to this room. I'm in here with this Hispanic lady, and she's just praying all night long in Spanish. I think she's praying. It sounds like she's praying. And this never ends. And I turn over and I go to sleep. Eventually, somebody wakes me up very, very early in the morning, but I don't know what time it is because this room is just all concrete. It's no windows, it's nothing. So she come in and she tell me I have a court date and they're taking me to dress out again. So they dress me back in my same clothes that I had on the day before. I get shackled from hands, ankles, waist with a whole bunch of other people. And then we're taken onto a bus and we're taken to a courthouse not too far away. So they sitting in this holding cell and I'm praying in my mind silently that when I go before the judge and I'm going to get this bond hearing. And so eventually they call me out and they escort me in the courtroom. And as they escort me in the courtroom, I look and I can see my mom is there, my sisters are there, one of my friends is there. It's my auntie there. I see his mom sitting in the courtroom. It's a couple of people that I recognize familiar faces at this time. And so they put me inside of the jury box where the jury sit at. And so I'm sitting there and they come out this AUSA and he starts reading out these charges. And then they come over and they're bringing me an indictment. They're basically saying, we're going to unseal this indictment today. So they start reading me all these charges and it's count after count after count after count. But I'm not understanding exactly what's going on. I'm just waiting for them to tell me what my bond is. Well, they never give me a bond. I hear them say bond hearing is set for a week from that day. And I burst out into tears crying. And when I looked over, I just seen my whole family devastated. They're crying too now. I'm looking, his sister is crying. Everybody is sitting there. His mom is crying too. They take me back out the courtroom, and this time they put me back in the same cell. I'm in there just crying and crying and crying. And the ladies that are in there with me, they're asking me all these questions, telling me, when you come back, you're going to get your bond hearing and they're going to release you. But I could not comprehend sitting in there for 7 days. So I'm just all tore up. Eventually they come and they shackle us again and they take us out. They put us on a bus again. And this time I'm not with the same amount of people I was with before. I guess some people had got released, or I don't know, they took them somewhere else on a different bus. Well, they start taking us in another direction. And so I don't know where we're going. So this is a long, long, long ride on this bus. Eventually, I'm in Conroe, Texas at some kind of detention center that they have in Conroe. So I'm booked in, and when I'm getting booked in, I notice that I see him again. He's laughing and talking to all these guys still. Like he doesn't have a care in the world. I'm not understanding because I'm hard down crying and stuff. And he sees me when I pass by. He told me, make sure you eat some noodles.